The main reason I won came from Orlix bringing just 4 stacks of XP, while I brought 6.
That should not be happening. Whether you've seen my previous video on balancing or not, here's a summary of that schizo rant. Minecraft combat is unbalanced, with many ways to become essentially unkillable, and the only way to actually kill someone is by using one of the many unintentional weapons in the game. These are the ones that stay viable on easy mode, mace is countered by slow falling, you have so much time to react before harming kills you, and even crystals and anchors can't beat double toteming. And you know what it always comes down to? Drain. Armor drain, resource drain, shield drain. Now, me personally, I like dynamic combat. One where the meta isn't bow spamming to high heaven. I'm looking at you, clown peers. SMPs nowadays usually have some crazy restrictions. XP caps, pro caps, gap and E-gap caps, sharp and prot restrictions. Like, yeah, that works. But if you want to implement all of these restrictions on, say, your friend's server, good luck explaining and enforcing all that. So, after a bit of cooking, let me present my SMP restrictions that could balance Minecraft combat. No PvP enchantments means the only enchantments allowed are efficiency, fortune, silk touch, looting, fishing rod enchantments, and other forms of sharpness. That's right, that means no mending, unbreaking, or protection. Other enchantments like Depth Strider or Aqua Affinity have some sort of PvP implication, which is why they are banned. I'll go over the features and pros of this kit, starting with SMPs usually either cap golden apples or limit protection to nerf holding down right click. And so you may be asking, isn't no prot just sharp a bit too much damage? Well, at first glance it may seem that way. However, after you consider safe healing, web bubbling, enchanted golden apple resistance, there are far more ways to stay alive to balance the high damage output. This increases the pace of PvP, as idly healing is no longer an option. Enchanted golden apples do give the player some breathing room, but the player typically won't have enough to chug. The buffing of conventional weapons also balances the mace. No placeable explosives means no beds, carts, crystals, or anchors, since all of those will one-shot in a no-proc hit. Even with all mace enchants banned, the mace still has the possibility to one-shot. This makes the mace the strongest weapon and therefore the meta, right? Wrong. Since everyone is equally fragile, the DPS from melee is now on par with mace. With feather falling also banned, some mace tech is now dangerous to perform, and is also highly punishable. All of this to say,
when everyone's super, no one will be.
First few minutes into the server and you've already got max gear. Isn't that nice? But make sure to get more since mending is banned. This means you'll want to consider either making a fresh set or anvil mending the set you have. You can obtain Sharpness 5 from villagers, or obtain 2 Sharpness 4 books from an enchantment table. Fortune is extremely important, since diamonds are the basis of all gear. Because this is on easy mode, mobs do less damage than usual, but this also means totems can't be farmed from raids. This means the only way to get totems is from finding or buying a map and raiding a woodland mansion. Now that totems are a finite but uncapped resource, you have to be careful with how and when you use them. Easy mode also nerfs villagers, as you can't cure for better trades. Villagers, while still being useful and viable, are not the gear factory current SMPs treat them as. Since most enchantments are banned, turning on villager balancing is manageable and can actually help narrow trades for faster librarian rerolling. Enchanted golden apples are vital, as it nullifies lava and provides resistance which can help you win trades more often. Netherite is unbanned and its KB resistance is extremely broken, with knockback banned and weapons doing more damage. However, netherite can't be anvil mended, or more precisely, you're stupid if you do. To mend, crafting a new set is far cheaper, but means you would risk losing netherite if you happen to die. Alternatively, you could use netherite at the start, and if pieces break, you craft diamond in its place. Netherite weapons are a must-have, as that extra bit of damage will go a long way. I think it's a great time to talk about ranged weapons in the drain section. Bowing does around the same damage as before, and does more armor damage since unbreaking isn't present. However, without an armor cap, just carrying diamonds into a fight makes armor drain no longer viable, since without infinity, you can only have so many arrows to break several sets of diamond armor. Bow and crossbow damage is not enough to kill someone, but works as great secondaries. Crossbow fireworks are now viable, as they are neither difficulty dependent nor placeable explosives. Fireworks also offer a decent counter to wind charging. Firework PvP is an incredibly complex and possibly broken form of PvP, but unless someone devotes a whole lot of time to learn and refine techniques, it's really nothing to worry about. Tridents? Yeah, sorry buddy. It'd be a stretch to say Riptide and Loyalty aren't PvP enchantments, so unfortunately, Tridents are still the worst weapon in the game. With Riptide banned, the Elytra is now the only surefire way to run from a fight. Closing or temporarily closing the end will prevent this from happening. And hey, we solved the running problem. Running with pearls is technically still an option, but they do full damage without protection. Mace shield drain, patched. You can carry and craft more than one shield, but it can't be enchanted. Resource drain, patched. Restocking is allowed since infinite armor and healing won't save you from the damage output. Now people will only die to skill issue or being overall poor. Playing conservative and resource drain is no longer the meta. Whole fights in a normal SMP kit are already extremely powerful since there isn't any room to perform any fancy defensive tech. So in this kit, you pretty much die instantly if you're caught in a whole fight. Team fights become a lot more diverse, with more playstyles being viable, and numbers becoming infinitely more important, as your average builder might not be able to play melee, but can definitely shoot a couple firework crossbows. You could allow other protections except for normal protection and unban placeable explosives. This creates a combat triangle. An explosive user can kill a mace user fairly easily. Melee users with blast prod can kill explosive users as they don't take explosive knockback or damage since this is on easy mode. However, this prevents them from using the mace or wind charges in general, where finally, mace users can still destroy melee players. Isn't that just beautiful? You could also unban potions and tipped arrows as long as harming stays banned because, you know, no protection. Strength 2 with weakness and slow falling can still do insane amounts of damage in this kit, and Turtle Master can only get you so far. Do make sure to weakness them though, Strength 2 is OP. You could unban mending and unbreaking for tools so builders don't get angry, but this adds more complexity to the simple rule set, and me personally, I'd rather just deal with it since tools aren't very hard to grind in the first place. First of all, anvil uses suck and should be removed. People probably won't be playing on a server long enough to exhaust all resources in the world, but it's still annoying to have to get another elytra. Second, gear is just as infinite as those from SMPs, with the exception that more things in the kit can't be gotten from villagers. So the gear economy is pretty much just as bad. Trapping is heavily buffed, with fall traps guaranteeing kills with no protection or feather falling, which could be seen as a good or bad thing. One of the main issues I see with this kit is limited progression. On any normal SMP, someone with iron armor fighting someone in diamond is obviously going to lose. But here, someone fighting in iron armor is almost even with a diamond player, and this becomes a serious problem with iron farms existing. Okay, I obviously didn't completely balance Minecraft combat. Banning is not considered balancing, but look at all the things we did balance. However, this is all I could think of. Do I stray down the wrong path of restrictions, or are we close to perfecting Minecraft combat? I don't know, I just thought it'd be fun to make this video. I greatly encourage thinking up of new ideas, and I hope to see SMPs deviate from the standard Prop 4 Diamond into something more elegant and unrestricted. Okay, bye.